This is Cockpit Classroom. In contrast to the last few videos in the Cockpit Classroom series, we'll be jumping forward a couple decades to 2007. This is the F-16C VIPER, officially called the Fighting Falcon, of course. What we'll be using it for is multi-role fighter training. Now the F-16 is about as brilliant as any multi-role can be. Coming from the Phantom, it's a step forward in many directions. Compared to the Phantom's modest loadout of 4 radar-guided missiles and 4 infrared-guided missiles, the VIPER cuts that total down to 6. However, you can carry up to 6 AIM-120B or C AMRAAM active radar-guided missiles, or alternatively, you could carry any number from 1 to 6 AIM-9P, L, M, or X Sidewinder missiles. The AIM-9X being the most advanced and most potent air-to-air short-range infrared-guided missile that the US Air Force has. We'll get to that in a bit. For now, let's go over the cockpit. In the cockpit of the VIPER, you have 2 main displays. These are called MPDs, or multi-purpose displays. These can display things such as your targeting pod video feed, your radar display, weapons stores management page, and your horizontal situation display, or HSD. Now, this might seem mind-boggling to us Phantom drivers, and it kind of is. This allows data-linked contacts over Link 16, which we'll get to later, to be displayed in a 360-degree view around the aircraft. This allows sharing of target information, waypoints, and friendly tracks on things like air contacts or SAM sites that you might come across in your time in the VIPER. Starting from the left side cockpit console and moving up to the forward and right. The left side console starts with a few test switches, your pitch and roll trim indicators, lights panel, IFF panel, engine fuel tank feed switch panel, along with your air refueling switch, engine and main power switches, your ECM panel for electronic countermeasures, if equipped, radio and warning volume knobs, the throttle, and your UHF COM1 radio backup control panel. On the left-hand wall of the cockpit at the front, you'll see this yellow guard. This is called the spider guard for the canopy control switch. In the up position, the canopy can be moved with the switch. In the down position, it's guarded or barred from being moved with the canopy control switch. The switch is spring-loaded, so if you hold it down to lower the canopy, it will return to center. However, if you switch it up, the canopy will automatically go all the way up, and it will stay in the up position. To the front left panel, you'll see a few indicators and switches. The leftmost control on this forward left panel is your alternate landing gear lever. You'll pull this when you don't have engine power in case of an engine failure, and you need to manually extend the landing gear. To the right of this is a couple knobs and buttons. The RWR, or Radar Warning Receiver, power button, the low altitude control button and indicator, the activity power indicator, and the search control button and indicator. We'll go over this in a later part. Above this is the speed brake indicator. In closed, it is retracted. If 9 dots are shown, it is deployed in any position, and if there's striped lines across it, it means power is off to the system. To the right is your main countermeasures display and switches. At the top, when the system is on, you'll have 2 indications. On the left, next to status, you'll see go or no-go status lights. To the right of this, on the right side of that little screw, you'll see the dispense ready status light. This is displayed when manual consent is required to dispense countermeasures in the semi-automatic or automatic mode, selected below. you'll see RWR, Jammer, and MWIS or MWS. The MWS is not simulated in the Block 50 for DCS. To the right of these, you'll see 4 switches, above which will be the numbers 01, 02, CH, and FL. CH and FL should be left in the on for normal operation position. This stands for chaff and flares respectively. The 01 and 02 are not available or simulated on this variant of F-16. The jet switch or jettison switch allows for countermeasures jettison even when the CMIDS or countermeasures dispensing system is turned off. The program selector knob below this allows for a selection of 4 different programs as well as a built-in test or bit. Program 5 is always activated by the slap switch or button on the left wall, while program 6 is bypass. The first 5 programs can be programmed through the DTC or data transfer cartridge, or when the system is in standby via the UFC or upfront controls. There are different modes. Off is self-explanatory. Standby allows the parameters to be changed, but no countermeasures to be dispensed. Manual allows manual program dispensing by positioning the CMS forward on the stick. Semi-automatic, the systems in the aircraft determine the program to be dispensed based on the threat. Consent to dispense must be given by positioning the CMS aft on the stick. An auto automatically dispenses, but it must be enabled by positioning the CMS aft on the stick as well. Note that automatic mode can be deselected or disabled by selecting CMS right on the flight control stick. Bypass or BYP allows manual dispensing of countermeasures even when failures prevent the other modes from working. Underneath the countermeasures display and control panel is a Symbology INT knob on the HMCS panel. This is the helmet mounted queuing display or helmet mounted queuing system knob. We'll go over the helmet mounted display in a separate video, but believe me, it's game changing. Moving up from the countermeasures panel, you'll see a few more switches and buttons. From the top left to bottom right, the guarded button is the emergency stores jettison. This drops everything that isn't rail mounted, such as AIM-9s and AIM-120s. This includes drop tanks, air-to-ground stores, and their pylons, but this does not include the electronic countermeasures pods that can be mounted on the underbelly and inner wing pylons, as these cannot be jettisoned. To the right, you'll see 3 indicator lights for the landing gear in the wheels section. These light up green when the gear is down and locked. And the arresting hook switch is to the right of this. Note that in the down position, it cannot be re-raised in flight or on the ground. You need to do a full repair in the radio ground crew menu. Below this, to the left, you'll see ground jettison enabled and off. Up allows ordnance to be jettisoned while the aircraft is on the ground. To the right, you'll see the brakes channel selector. The tow brakes can either be initiated by electrical channel 1 or 2, which operate the brake hydraulic valves. You'll normally keep this set to 1 unless you do your pre-flight checks. To the right, the parking brake anti-skid switch. Up is in parking brake mode and will hold the aircraft stationary without the use of tow brakes. The parking brakes are automatically de-energized when the throttle handle moves 1 inch past the idle detent. The parking brakes also disengage automatically above 80% RPM. There's no status indicator aside from the position of the switch. The landing gear lever, which is the big black knob on the right side of the panel, will light up red if you're not in correct configuration. This will illuminate if the landing gear and doors are in transit or have failed to lock into position. It also comes on below 10,000 feet when all gears are not down and locked, airspeed less than 190 knots, and the rate of descent is greater than 250 feet per minute. Alright, now bottom row on this panel. To the left, stores config, Cat 1, Cat 3. What does this mean? Cat 1 is used for air-to-air loadouts. Cat 3 is used for heavier air-to-ground loadouts or fuel-heavy configurations. The flight control system limits the angle of attack and onset rates in order to increase departure resistance. Keep this in Cat 3 if you're carrying a heavy air-to-ground load such as bombs, Mark 84s, GBU-24s, or any number of external drop tanks. To the right, the landing gear horn silencer button. This turns off the audio warning when you get below 190 knots, 10,000 feet, with the trailing flaps extended and the landing gear not down and locked. To the right of this is your landing and taxi light switch. The middle position is off. The up position is landing. Turn this on when you're on final or in the pattern. And the taxi light is on the bottom. Flick the switch down after you landed and you're vacating the runway, or after you start up and before you taxi. When you get to the runway after taxiing, turn it back to landing. Moving up to the next panel, starting from the top to the bottom. The RF or radio frequency switch allows you to control emissions from the aircraft. Norm, all electronic signals are enabled. In quiet mode, the radar, TACAN, and data link transmit, but all other emissions are inhibited. In silent, the electronic signals for the aircraft are all disabled and includes the radar, radar altimeter, data link, TACAN transmit, and electronic countermeasures. Underneath that, you'll see the green ECM enable light. This illuminates when an electronic countermeasures is transmitting. To the left, you'll see laser arm. This is pretty self-explanatory, but with either the Lightning targeting pod or the AAQ-33 Sniper targeting pod, this arms the laser for use. Below this, you'll see the master arm switch, which has 3 positions. Off in the center, up, which is master arm on, which enables the release of weapons, and down, which is simulate or training mode. Below this, you'll see the ADV terrain avoidance mode switch button, which is not functional on the Block 50 F-16. Below these, you'll see 2 switches in the bottom row, roll and pitch. The pitch is your basic autopilot function. It has 2 modes along with off. Up is altitude hold. The moment it is engaged, it sets the reference altitude in the flight computer and it will try and maintain this altitude. This can maintain the altitude plus or minus 60 degrees of bank. Down is ATT or attitude hold, up to 60 degrees of pitch and various bank angles. This will hold the current attitude of the aircraft. Think of it like you're sticking your nose in the sky, flick the switch down, and your nose is glued to that position. You move the stick within limits, and it will glue to the next position in the sky. The roll mode switch has 3 selections, including attitude hold. Attitude hold holds the current attitude in roll or heading, as well as pitch. This is the default mode. Up is heading select. Heading select allows the aircraft to be steered to the bugged heading on the electronic horizontal situation indicator, which we'll come to shortly. Down is steering select or STRG. This allows the heading of the aircraft to be slaved to the current selected steer point, which we'll get to later as well. For now, that is the VIPER cockpit. Stay tuned for more information, videos, and shorts, only in the 20th Fighter Squadron. If you like this video and you want to see more, be the first to know. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and join my Patreon. Link in the description.